A very good day to fellow teachers and the audience. Today I am going to present the Sorcuviam techniques, a method to master Tamil vocabulary and build sentences based on the meaning of basic words. The introduction. The situation in Malaysia that most teachers teach based on their existing curriculum and give priority on memorizing facts and copying notes and making exercise in a more examination-oriented teaching process. So this paper is consist on mastering Tamil vocabulary and build sentences based on the meaning of basic words in SJKT. So we introduce Sorkuviam technique board game. So fun learning is one of the most important thing in 21st century education that students are love on gamifications. So vocabulary is widely used in oral, reading and writing skills. So based on the curriculum and assessment standard which called DSKP. So we are focusing on writing skills, and based on that we could identify the problem that we face in the schools. So this study is on focusing mastery of Tamil vocabulary for SJKT students. And the issue that prompted us to create this Sorkuviam verb, number 1, we will identify that students face issues in the field of writing. Number 2, the people's a lack of Tamil vocabulary. And number 3, the people faces problems in constructing sentences based on the meaning. And number 4, the people face problems in identifying the basic words of Tamil words. So in Bahasa Melayu it is called kata dasar. So based on that, we came out with an objective and this is question to help us to modify or to upgrade our Sorkuviam board game. So number 1, we did a need analysis where we need to identify the need for the design and development of Tamil Sorkuviam techniques for Year 4 students in implementation of classroom assessment. And for that, the research question was involved is there a need to design and develop the Tamil Sorkuviam technique for Year 4 students in the implementation of classroom assessment? Number 1, what is the level of knowledge of Year 4 students in learning Tamil? Number 2, what is the level of students' skills in the construction of Tamil sentences in the implementation of classroom assessment, that's called PBD. And then for the phase of design and development, of course, we need to design the Sorkuviam. And for that, the objective were design and develop the Sorkuviam technique for Year 4 students in the implementation of classroom assessment according to the expert views. So we need to evaluate the model. So the question were, what are the main constructs in the designing the Tamil Sorkuviam technique in the implementation of classroom assessment from the aspect of expert consensus? And number 2, what are the appropriate items to develop the Tamil Sorkuviam technique in implementation of classroom assessment from the aspect of expert consensus? And the next was the phase of assessment. So where we divided it into 2. Number 1 is effectiveness, number 2 is usability. So based on the phase assessment effectiveness, the question were testing the effectiveness of the use of Tamil Sorkuviam technique developed in the implementation of classroom assessment. So the question were, is there a difference in the achievement of students who follow the teaching using Tamil Sorkuviam technique which the student would not follow it? And the usability, evaluate the applicability of Tamil Sorkuviam technique based on the Year 4 student teachers and the implementation of classroom assessment. And the research questions are, what is the usability assessment of Tamil Sorkuviam technique based on the Year 4 student in the implementation of classroom, and what is the level of competency of Tamil Sorkuviam technique in improving the pedagogical knowledge of Year 4 students based on the views of teacher who perform the assessment. And next, what is the level of satisfaction of Year 4 students, Tamil students, toward the Tamil Sorkuviam technique and the implementation of classroom assessment. So based on that, the research methodology that we took, that the researchers, we have used DDR, Design and Development Research Methodology, which is pioneered by the Ritchie and Klein 2007. So the phases are divided into three. Number one is phase 1, need analysis, phase 2, design and development, and phase 3, implementation and evaluation. So the study sampling, okay, the need analysis, we use 30 Tamil students for total sampling, okay, as a random sampling. And phase 2, we use design and development. We use 5 Tamil panel experts throughout Malaysia. So we chose the 5 Guru Cemerlang, Bahasa Tamil, and to evaluate the Sorkuviam technique. And then the implementation evaluation, where we got the data from the total sampling, 30 students of our quasi data, and 1 teacher for interview. The type of sampling that we use is random sampling and purposeful sampling. So the innovation that we implemented, the Sorcuviam is a board game. It's a board game where we introduced 247 Tamil alphabet that we can use from year 1 to year 6 students. And the Sorkuviam game card includes word building board and 247 alphabet as well as the scan cards. So in this game, the people should construct words and say the meaning of the words, and people required to construct sentences with words created by referring to the dictionary. So at the end of the game, the student will construct the most words and sentences we call Solvender as a champion of the Sorkuviam. So this innovation can be used in National Tamil School as well in National School students for mastering Tamil vocabulary by referring dictionary correctly. So the benefits from Sorkuviam innovation, we can say that the Sorkuviam is based on the general objective of Tamil language curriculum standard for primary school, which aims to enable students to achieve the following objective. Is based on the DSKP provided by the Ministry of Education. Number 1, provide responses based on instruction and order inquiries correctly. Number 2, produces a variety of writing, editing and writing words correctly. Number 3, appreciate the beauty and decency of language literacy material and use the correct language system in speaking, reading and writing. And the last, appreciate and practice noble values, be positive, patriotic spirit and citizenship through language activities. So the research design, was, we did a questionnaire for teachers and students to see the extent of use of Sorkuviam among teachers and students. So to determine these analysis data collection methods and population and determination of sample selection and pilot test and data analysis method. So this study uses a survey method where the respondent will answer the question that is prepared, and the teachers need to use the Sorkuviam in implementation of teaching and learning in school, and that question instructed include 40 questions related to the Sorkuviam, various of types of question formed including right or wrong. So based on that objective that we proposed in this research, and the first question were, is there a need to design and develop Tamil Sorkuviam technique for year 4 student in implementation of classroom assessment? The answer were, there is indeed a need to develop the Tamil Sorkuviam technique. That were 93.3% of the students agree with the development of the module. If you can see this data over here, 28 students out of 30 students agreed for Sorkuviam technique, where they want the gamification aspect in their learning methodology, and only 2 students who say no. So total 93.3% were agreed. So according to the research, there is a need of Sorkuviam gamification in the implementation of classroom assessment. So this finding of the study have given an impression that level of use of Sorkuviam among students in teaching and learning. and can be formulated as follows. If you look, most of the students know about the Sorcuviam among the students, and yet there is still either need to be seen in teachers should be venture in the field of innovation, where we can understand that the students are expecting some difference in the teaching and learning methodology. So this problem need to be taken immediate action as not to affect the problem of the teacher who do not have a skills of educational technology and innovation. So that means the teachers need to improvise the teaching pedagogical skills into educational technology, and they have to come up with some innovation based on the framework of 21st century education skills. So the teachers need to improvise their teaching style. Okay, the next is the Sorkuviam reliability. Is there a difference in the achievement of students who follow the teaching using Tamil Sorkuviam technique in which students would not follow it? That means we are compare the data before Sorkuviam and after Sorkuviam. So based on our research, okay, since we started using Sorkuviam, we able to see that the students are improved a lot in their learning Tamil vocabulary and constructing words, sentences. Okay, as you can see the data, the class A before the Sorkuviam the achievement was 68% before Sorkuviam, and after we use the Sorkuviam methodology, it can show that 98% of the students able to achieve the objective of the lesson, and they able to construct words based on the basic meaning of the vocabulary. And the class B, from the 51% before Sorkuviam, we able to achieve 92%. So indeed we can see that there is an improvement of academic achievement in Tamil language subjects. The next part is the usability of Sorkuviam. Okay, so for this, what is the level of competency of Tamil Sorkuviam technique in improving the pedagogical knowledge for the year 4 students based on the teacher's view who perform the class assessment using Sorkuviam. So the finding of the interview show the level of efficiency of Sorkuviam technique that can be improved student knowledge and can find out student weakness and can strengthen the students' learning domain, especially in sentence construction. And next is was the level of satisfaction of year 4 students towards Tamil Sorkuviam technique, the implementation of classroom assessment. So the finding shows the interview data, the technique of teachers that use suitable for classroom assessment. By using Sorkuviam board game, we can say that simply we can ease the workload and we can keep the classroom assessment of student records and as evidence to be given to the parent as the achievement in Tamil language. Okay. This Sorkuviam was tested in few schools with Tamil school language experts, okay, evaluated by Manjung Tamil School Headmaster Council and Manjung District Tamil Teachers Council. They given the SKPMG standard. They have said that this Sorkuviam method is based on the SKPMG2 standard 4, where the Manjung District Tamil Teachers Council certified that this is a aspect for teachers as planners. So it is based on the standard 4.1 teachers as planners. And the next is by Manjung District Headmaster Council. They have certified and they are given a certification stating that these Sorkuviam methods are based on standard 4.6 student as active learners. At the same time, this Sorkuviam was tested in India by UNITAR, and they recognize this as a unified and collective vision board game based on the framework of 21st century education. And can you see that this Sorkuviam board game it costs around 30 ringgit. Okay, as you can see here, this Sorkuviam techniques is registered under Pesuruhjaya Sumpah, okay, judiciary, and we are in the process of getting patent registrations. Okay, So the summary of this overall Sorcuviam, okay, we can see that the development of this module is a result that is a high novelty, which in line the finding of previous study shows there is no special assessment module for Tamil language students. The conclusion is divided into two, namely the level of Sorcuviam innovation and student perception related to the Sorcuviam. The level of Sorcuviam further discuss the level of technological skills, knowledge of teachers, and attendance of teachers to class, and the use of Sorcuviam in classroom for the purpose of PDP in schools. In the implementation of Sorcuviam, we can understand the role of teacher in teaching and learning is a very big impact in developing teacher pedagogy that gives a main focus to teachers using innovation as a tool of disseminating knowledge to students and physically. At the same time, we can see that overall is answer all the questions based for the research, and we can find that this Sorcuviam board game gamifications really helps the Tamil school students to master Tamil vocabulary, and at the same time be able to construct Tamil sentences with the correct meaning. Okay, this is the board game that we have mentioned earlier. So we have a board over here, and we have a Tamil alphabet cards divided into 3 categories. Okay, so as you can see here, the students also played this game and they find it really enjoyable when we have a chances to construct words and by referring to the dictionary, and they find this really helping the students on their motivational factor, on their confident level of getting know on Tamil vocabulary. Okay, the total cost of manufacturing is 50 ringgit, and the selling price was 30 ringgit, which is proposed by a few local company and international company for this Sorcuviam board game. Okay, overall conclusions is answer all the questions in our research, where we are also able to extend student learning experience in Tamil language subjects through Sorcuviam technique and the method to master Tamil vocabulary and construct sentences based on the meaning of base words. So the suggestion of the improvement, we are in the process of integrating the latest technologies such as virtual reality and augmented reality to form such modules, and where the students can use these modules at home during the pandemic. So this is the recognition that we got so far in an international arena and presented locally in UPSI as a research paper over here, and recently we got a Nigeria Gold Award for Sorcuviam method, and they are ready to adopt these into their country. Extend my thanks to my Dean of Faculty of Education, Associate Professor Dr. Mallika Vasugi. At the same time, our JPN Para Director Dr. Muhammad Swami bin Muhammad Ali, and our Pejabat Pendidikan Daerah Ilipera, and the excellent teachers around Malaysia who really helped me to construct this module and evaluate it in their school, and especially my sorority teachers who really was a big backbone for entire of this success of this project. So thanks for the opportunity. I would like to see you again. Take care. Bye.